There was no resistance like Sydney. There was no fairy tale like Brisbane. After all, a victory in Chennai or even a draw was like hoping against hope as far as India was concerned. Team India needed to survive 90 overs while England needed 9 wickets on the fifth and final day of the first test match. England won that race as India failed to survive even the first 2 sessions of the day and were shot out for just 192 that handed the Englishmen a 227-run victory and with it a 1-0 lead in the four test series.
That's a mountain to climb and an entire day to survive. 6 overs into the day and Pujara was on his way back. Jack Leach got one to turn and bounce and Pujara couldn't do much but to edge it.
And a very, very good catch once again by Ben Stokes. So the second wicket down.
Oh, he's got him! Oh, what a beauty!
James Anderson produced a dream spell that began when he breezed through Shubman Gill's defence, getting the ball to reverse swing.
Cannot believe it. His furniture has been wrecked behind him. And England have their third.
3 balls later, he had Ajinkya Rahane in almost similar fashion, the Indian vice-captain out for a duck.
Anderson on fire.
Virat Kohli was still fighting at the other end and the presence of Rishabh Pant may have raised a few hopes. But then there was Anderson.
And gone, just tame dismissal, trying to work it leg side and Jimmy Anderson's just too good at the moment.
This time the leading English wicket-taker got Pant and India had half their side back with just 110 runs on the board. Washington Sundar failed to come up with the goods this time and was gone for a knot. Virat meanwhile was fighting a lost battle and got to his 24th half-century with Ashwin at the other end.
His 24th in Test match cricket.
Ravichandran Ashwin was the next casualty of Leach before Ben Stokes ended Virat's resistance, sending the Indian captains off stump for a walk.
Delivery, and it took something special from that man again.
It was just a matter of time before England completed the formalities and take a 1-0 lead in the 4-test series. Something that not many had expected at the start of this match.
There it is, the game is finished. Jofra Archer into the attack.
Sports Bureau, India Today.
What a performance. One of their best performances away from home. So a memorable test match win here in Chennai to go 1-0 up in this 4-match series.
I'm joined by the greatest of all time now, Sunil Gavaskar. Sunny bhai. Nobody likes losing, but you don't mind losing if you at least put up a fight. What happened here? England totally dominated. They even dominated in the first innings. I mean, our tail-ender, sort of the tail, got out of that situation because Washington Sundar, the likes of Washington Sundar and others, they scored.
Yes, I know nobody likes losing, but you've got to accept that England really bowled well. They had the luck of the draw, if one might say that, with the toss, and therefore they got to bat on a pitch where it was probably the best couple of days to bat. And I say this because, you know, before the first ball was bowled, everybody was concerned, having had a look at the pitch, as to how this pitch will behave. So the toss became very vital at that particular point of time, and England really capitalized on winning the toss to pile up 578 runs. And after that, it was always going to be uphill, because the pitch here at Chennai is always known to try and, you know, to take a bit of turn on the third, fourth and fifth day. And it was going to be difficult. All England needed really was 3 or 4 good deliveries, which they got. Look at the deliveries with which they got today. Cheteshwar Pujara first up, then Shubman Gill, Ajinkya Rahane and Virat Kohli. So when you get such deliveries, then there's nothing much that you can do.
Absolutely not. But before I come to India and we're going to dissect this loss, I have to talk about James Anderson. Sunny bhai, for you, where does he rank amongst the greatest bowlers? Because what a spell from this man. I mean, way past his prime, but he looks like, you know, he's as effective as always.
Well, look, amongst he's in the top 4 wicket takers in the history of Test cricket, and he is in that top 4, the first pacer to do so. Above him are three spinners, And that just tells you how good he has been. Not just in England, not just in Australia, South Africa, but all over the world. Yes, I know people will try and point out, look, last time around, he got only 3 wickets in 4 matches. Now here in the first game itself, he's got five wickets. That's because he's always wanted to get better than yesterday. And you could see that from the way he was looking to get the ball to reverse swing and get it on target in the first over that he bowled today. So great players are those who know how to keep coming back. And James Anderson just keeps coming back, and he keeps coming at you as a batsman non-stop.
He was amazing today. Well, Boria Majumdar, where do we go from here? Firstly, a lot of talk about, oh, you lost the match because of the team selection itself. Now, you can't drop Washington Sundar because, I mean, you may drop him, but he's contributed a lot with the bat as well. So what do you do? Where do you go from here? Do you play Kuldeep Yadav? What is your team for the next test match?
There's one change that I think will happen or should happen is that Shahbaz Nadeem position. Deep Dasgupta, who was commentating with Sunny Bhai, tells me that Akshar Patel was actually batting at the nets behind the ground or at Chepauk. And Akshar Patel looked fit to him. So I was asking Deep, do you have an update for Akshar Patel? And that's what he gave me. So if Akshar Patel is fit, it's a straight switch. Shahbaz Nadeem will go out, Akshar Patel will come in. I think the player we missed the most in this test match was Ravindra Jadeja. Shahbaz Nadeem was out-bowled by Jack Leach, who bowled more wicket-taking deliveries than Shahbaz Nadeem. And if you think 2012, it was Monty Panesar's pace, very similar. Again, that's why I think Ravindra Jadeja was the most missed. Having said that, England, as Sunny Bhai rightly said, got the better of the draw. They got the toss. They got all of it. Root was superb. So was Anderson. Don't panic. This is too good an Indian side. Again, if we start saying, oh, all hell is broken loose, etc., multiple changes. I was thinking people tweeting, Rohit Sharma out, Ajinkya Rahane out, Virat Kohli bad captain. Complete rubbish. Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, Rohit Sharma. I think Virat Kohli tackled that very well. 2 games back, Ajinkya won you that Melbourne test match. Rohit Sharma, he's a genuinely good cricketer. Give him, yes. I mean, in Australia, he didn't get big ones, but he played out the new ball. I think that one change, and I also think in the next test match, it will be a very different India, and it will be 1-1. If we bring our A game, there is no reason why we can't beat England, even if we lose the toss.
We have to win at least 2 games and hope for a draw in the third one, or you can beat England 3-1 in this test series. Stay with me, gentlemen. I'm going to talk about Virat Kohli with Sunny Bhai as well. But first, England won the Chennai test fair and square and were ahead of India right from the start. After the first day, India seemed to be playing a catch-up game with England. But could they have done anything differently? A few things maybe.
Not for the first time did India lose a match, and not for the last time.
There it is, the game is finished. Jofra Archer into the attack.
England won an important toss and made it count. But is there anything that India could have done differently?
Excellent placement. Interesting that England haven't looked to sweep Ashwin as yet. They're playing with a full face.
Oh, it's gone through.
Kuldeep Yadav, who hasn't played a single test in the last 2 years, was once again benched.
Good player of spin, picked up by young Kuldeep Yadav.
Washington Sundar, for his batting ability, and left-arm spinner Shahbaz Nadeem were preferred over Kuldeep, who could have added variety to this Indian bowling attack.
It's the second sweep shot.
Virat, though, has no regrets.
The surface as he hits down on the second one.
Not really, not at all. Because when you're playing 2 off spinners, Kuldeep more or less becomes a similar kind of spinner taking the ball away. So you need variety in the bowling attack. We were quite clear on what we wanted to play, what combination we wanted to play. There are no regrets whatsoever on that decision, and moving forward, we will think of combinations which brings us variety as a bowling attack, and not one-dimensional where the ball is only turning away from the bat. So these things are very important to understand.
The inconsistencies in length from Nadeem and Sundar proved to be a glaring hole as England posted a mammoth 578 in the first innings.
Off the mark with that guide and a boundary.
I don't think that we put enough pressure on them with the ball in the first half. Collectively as a bowling unit, I think the fast bowlers and Ash was pretty good in the first innings, but then we needed probably all the bowlers to contain a few more runs.
One of the reasons for India's success in Australia was the start their openers provided them with, especially in the last 2 tests.
That's poor delivery. It's put away really well by Rohit Sharma. Short boundary down there, but it raced to the rope.
However, in Chennai, with a mountain to climb, Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill managed to add just 19 in the first innings and then 25 in the second.
Beauty. It was worth the wait for James Anderson.
In the first innings, India did not take the third new ball when it was available, and when they eventually did, after more than 25 overs, they got the result.
Ball them first ball.
It does seem that India could have done many things better, including a more attacking field on day one, but England did everything according to the plan to hand India their fourth successive defeat under Virat Kohli.
Batsman, it's a mammoth first innings total.
Sports Bureau, India Today.
My apologies in advance as I have to play devil's advocate now. Virat Kohli, under his leadership, the last two test matches, this is a mammoth loss. 227 runs in the last time he played in Australia when he was a skipper. 36 all out. That's the lowest innings total for Indian team ever in the history of the game. But let me ask you this. What does Virat Kohli need to do now? England haven't just beat us. They've dominated this test match. What does he need to do to lift the spirits of the game and get that same intensity and energy that we saw in the Indian team after he left under Rahane's captaincy?
Look, I think it's very easy to sometimes blame the captain when the team doesn't do well. Look, he cannot bat for everybody. He cannot bowl for everybody. I don't think there was anything specific in Virat Kohli's captaincy that you can point and say, oh, this is what he could have done. The simple fact is, if Rohit Sharma had got runs, if young Shubman Gill, who got starts in both the innings, but didn't carry on to get a big 100, things could have been different. If Cheteshwar Pujara had not got out to that unfortunate manner in that first innings, he could have got a big 100 as well. So I don't think there was anything specific in this particular test match that you can say that, look, Virat Kohli could have done. Yes, we can argue about the omission or non-inclusion of Kuldeep Yadav. But again, I think, like I said, at the end of the first day's play, that the way the pitch played, even Kuldeep Yadav, there's no guarantee that Kuldeep Yadav would have snared you 5-6 wickets. So, I think every time there's a loss, we are looking for scapegoats. And who's the number one scapegoat? Always the captain.
Yeah.
But like India came back in Melbourne, we could come back here in Chennai again in another 3 days' time. The pitch might be slightly different, or even if it's not different, at least the Indian team now knows how this pitch is going to do. I think the Indian team also knows, the players know what they're going to do, that they need to pull together and pull in the sense that they have to sort of get much more than what they did as batsmen. At the end of the day, when you look at it, it's the batting that really let India down. On a pitch where England scored 578, India should have scored at least 450. They didn't get to 450. It was a lower order. I mean, you had Washington Sundar scoring 85.
Yes, exactly.
If in the top half, if even two more batsmen had scored 85 on 1990, this wouldn't have been the situation. So don't start pointing fingers. This is way too soon to start pointing fingers.
All right, Sunny bhai, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Boria Majumdar, as well. We're slipping into a short break. Lots more when we welcome back. You're watching Sports Today. I'm Sushant Mehta. The 227-run defeat to England has pushed India to the 4th spot in the ICC World Test Championship points table. England are now on top of the table with a point percentage of 70.2, while India slipped to the 4th spot and their point percentage has now dropped to 68.3. New Zealand have already qualified for the World Test Championship final that is to be played on June 18th at Lord's. Well, that's all for today. We'll see you next time on Sports Today. Thanks for watching. News and updates continue on India Today.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.